We're in Oakland Skate Park in Birmingham, just outside Charlotte area. I got Tobias here, so he's helping me film. So I'll drop his YouTube and Instagram in the comments, but we'll do a bike check. It's my 2019 setup currently. Frame I've had for a couple of years, about 3 years. It's a 2016 NS Majesty Park Edition, Sam Pilgrim signature version as well. I went for the Park Edition because the rear triangle is slightly shorter than on the dirt, so spins and flips for me feel a little bit more comfortable on them, come around a little bit quicker, so it's more compact, feels more like a BMX as well. Even though I don't ride them, it's just a nicer feeling. From the frame, if we go to the rear wheel, I've got a Halo T2 26-inch rim. That's a 32 hole as well. So far they've proven to be pretty solid. I've given them a lot of abuse. I've come off worse, but that's what you want out of a wheel really. With those, I've got the Vans Colt 26-inch tyres. They were prototype ones, so I got to test them, and then a year later they got put on the market. So Neil from Colt decided to send them over to me, which was really kind. Send him some reviews on those. They started working on them. A year later they put into production. They're a little bit lighter than they were, and the red trim going around the white walls doesn't come off as easily anymore. And they're absolutely wicked tyres. Grip really, really well. If you're riding Vans as well, you start doing foot jams and foot jam whips, can't complain, so that's always nice. Moving on to the hub, I've got Hope Pro Evo 2 rear, single speed. That's loud, efficient, dead easy to change the bearings in. I think I've changed the bearings about 3 times, I've had it 6 years, so for me that's a perfect piece of kit. Heavy investment, short term, long term, pays itself off. I've got that matched with a Hope 3V4 twin part brake. It's got 4 pistons in there, so you know when you're going to stop. You only use one finger on the brake, you don't need some weird death grip Talon Hawk thing going on, squeezing as hard as you can, because you're just going to shred your tyres. If you've got the Vans Colt ones, then that's going to be a shame, because they're really nice. Moving forward from the back, we've got the gusset Fat Jack saddle. Really short saddle, but when it comes to bar spins, it's tucked away, it's really fat at the back, so you can pinch your knees. Same with when you're doing everything. You can just use your knees, clamp it around the back of the saddle, same with the flips. It's just nice and compact, it doesn't get in the way. You can slam it all the way down to the bottom. It's still really comfortable. I have got a nuke-proof seat post attached to the twin rail on the saddle, but it's so slammed you can't see it, but it's in there. I only really hire it when I'm trying bars, but that's not very often. Moving forward a little bit more, I've got a 25 tooth blank WTF oil slick chainring. I like the 25:11 ratio on the back. It's really good for cruising. Don't really pedal much when you're at a set of jumps or on a pump track or at a skate park. So for me, just riding around and cruising on it is a really good ratio, it's really comfortable as well. Then I've got the Salt Plus cranks, 175mm in length. Had those since my first dirt jumper, so that was probably 7 years ago. So they've held up really well. Probably going to be replacing them soon, but for the time being they're holding up. And then I've got nuke-proof Neutron pedals. They're the limited edition ones. They've got metal actual platforms on them, and then you've got metal pins. I definitely recommend wearing pads with them because they are bear traps without them. They just shred your shins, but hopefully you don't catch your shins very often. But that's why I've got the Alpha pads on. They're comfortable. Haven't changed the bearings in those because they've been perfectly fine. It's just an 8mm to get into the crank arm itself, but so far I haven't had to change the bearings. Moving on to the front end, I've got a set of Fox 36 forks. They're 100mm travel, designed for a 26-inch wheel as well. They were 15mm, but there's a 20mm adapter in the box as well. So I've got a 20mm front hub, so that's a bolt through as well. So thankfully that all arrived in the box. I had a pair of Mazhakis, but swapped over to Fox. They had good reviews, they were smooth. Again, short term they're a bit expensive, but long term they pay themselves off. They're really easy to maintain. You've got so many points of adjustment as well, so you can change the adjustment here. So you've got your high speed and low speed compression. Again, you can change that on the blue dial, and then you've got more points here at the bottom, so you can make them as comfortable as you want, or put as much air in. You can change the actual volume spaces in there as well, fully customizable, so they are absolutely solid. The Kashima coating as well, it just makes for a smoother action, so when you do compress and they come back up, it's not really jumping, juddery, horrible like on some previous forks I've had. Stem, I've got a 40mm octane one, that's a 25.4 stem, so more sort of designed for the rise bars. Some people say you want 31.8 bars and a clamp, but I've had 25.4 for ages. It's been super strong with the bars as well. That's been about six years. Never had anything wrong with it. It's a nice little size as well, so you can tuck it into your waist when you're spinning and you're flipping and whatnot. So you don't overstretch and do damage to your back, shoulders and neck. It's just a comfortable sort of cockpit essentially. Bars, I've gone for the Spank Tweet bars. They're 2-inch rise, says 50 on there, but they're 2-inch rise. 720mm wide, really comfortable as well. So with that, the sweep here, you can just tuck it in to your waist if you're doing tuck no handers. Same with spins, I always bring my bars into my waist and look round. Some people don't say do that, but I find it more comfortable. Grips, I've got the Vans Colt to match the tyres. It did have flanges on, but I didn't like them, so I just cut them off. But they're really grippy, really comfortable if you don't ride with gloves. Even if you ride with gloves, super comfortable. Ridden them for 4 years. I only had 2 pairs, so I can't complain about them. The whole Vans Colt collaboration, riding wise and kit wise, brilliant. That's just the front of the brake. So you've got the lever, and then that's the Tech 3 V4 brake that I was talking about earlier. You've got the reach and then the biting point as well. Those two are customizable, change them, adjustable. I've got it so your finger just rests on it as you're riding, and then you don't need to give it a death grip to stop. And that's 1.5 meters fully metal braided cable, so the chances of that snapping are absolutely minimal, which is really nice. Onto the front wheel, I've got the same Halo T2 26-inch 32-hole rim as I do on the back. I went for those just because they were blue. I wanted to keep the whole black and blue theme going. I was going to get the Halo Chaos rim set, so they've got a good write-up as well, but I went for the T2s instead because they were metallic blue and it went with the rest of the bike. And then I've got a Octane 1 20mm front hub. Can't remember the exact one because it arrived with a set of NS fundamentals when I first got into the sort of dirt jump riding. But again, that might get changed over to a Hope Pro 4 in the new year. Potentially with the rear one as well, but that's been holding up really nicely over the past couple of years, so I'm just going to leave it as that. And that is my current setup. Any questions, feel free to send me a message on Insta or just leave it in the comments. You can probably film a skate park review, so Oakland or Creation, anything on those lines.